Chessington's Cryptogee here with Cryptogee Chess, and we're just going to look today at my highest rated victory for the 5-3 games. So yeah, I'm just going to show you my greatest ever victory on this, which is, it's not a mega chess, because a mega chess was a 3-minute game. It's a Blitz game. We will look at that another time. But for now, let's look at Malpa 1450. Okay, so I'm just going to flip the board because I actually played black here. So let's just flip the board. There we go. Okay, and off we go. So Malpa opens with King's Pawn, an opening I like doing myself. With White, I come up and we exchange Kings for Queen's Pawn. Now, I play this a lot, and if you start watching this channel, you'll really see that with Black, I do play this opening a lot. I like it. I've watched Carlsen play it a lot, and, you know, seems to work for him. So this is quite standard for me now, is just opening there. The one thing I always have to watch, because I often play 1-minute games just before a 5-3 game just to warm up. And a lot of the time I'm pre-moving. So I'm moving really quickly, and they can often catch you out with this one. When they see you do this, especially in 1-minute games, they'll come like that, knowing that you've probably pre-moved to do this, and then obviously, hoping that you've pre-moved, they come down there, hoping that you've pre-moved to do this, and then of course, bang, they take your queen. In fact, that's exactly what happened, but luckily, I had pre-moved to do my knight and not my queen. And again, you've got to be careful and not pre-move here because often they'll go like that, and then you've pre-moved, and then bang, they get your queen. Oops. So he comes down here with his white bishop, and I was quite surprised at this because, you know, like I say, he was 1450 rated at the time. It'd be quite good to look at how his rating now. His rating now is 1453, so it hasn't changed much. So I just mouse over that. As you can see on the left there, it hasn't changed much. So I was quite surprised because usually lower rated players do this to me, bring both bishops in exactly this situation, and I tend to win. So I was like, okay, fine, I don't mind that, I'll go there. He goes there. Now usually I do push up here and kick the bishop to here, and then later either immediately move the bishop here, or support here. I tend not to do this one so much because it can turn into a bit of a wasted move. But on this occasion, let's just get rid of all these. On this occasion, I move my bishop out, getting ready to castle. You know, and I think I'm just kind of respecting the fact that he's a higher rated player, and, you know, I was only 12.99 at the time, so I was like, let's just castle. This is a good time when all good boys castle. He then moves up, and I'm like, okay, now I don't like this because obviously I can't take with here because of the pin on my king. So I can't take with here because of the pin on my queen. So I'm forced to take there, which I don't like. I don't like this king file open. The whole point of this opening is me to open the queen file. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to castle. I'm going to castle. And if he takes here, I'll come with the knight, and I'll have a doubled up pawn if he then goes like that. You know, if he then exchanges knight and bishop. And if he takes there, I'll take with my bishop, which is what I was hoping he would do. He had another option actually, which was to push forwards, and I think in hindsight, that was probably the best move, because I think pushing forwards now really puts me in quite a lot of shtuck, and we can look at what might have happened if he'd pushed forwards. But anyway, he comes to the side that I want him to come to, which is great. He then moves to attack the bishop. I then do my pushing up to kick the bishop onto this square, and he moves. Now, I've just looked at this game just now, and I just realized this was a dreadful mistake, because actually in this position, and I think this is worth looking at for you guys, I'm sure it's a position you could find yourselves in often. Pushing up at that point was the wrong thing to do, simply because he should have just gone like this, taken my bishop. He's now got a fork on my king, on my queen and my rook, so I can't afford to take this bishop. Obviously, I don't want to lose my queen for a bishop, so I am forced to take this. I could try and pin him so that he can't take my rook, but then of course he can castle. I take with my queen, and then he ends up getting this bishop there anyway, and there's various maneuvering around. Do you know what I mean? He can end up getting putting quite a lot of pressure on that square, and pressure that I can't actually defend that well. Okay, so let's just go back. I think he should have moved there. I think that would have been the move to do. Obviously, that would have been a disastrous defense, because then he now comes up like that. He's now got the file that I was trying to stop him getting, and even though I can defend it again, he can start putting a lot of pressure on this, and he's still, of course, got me in this crucial pin. So he doesn't do that. He moves his bishop. Great. I don't need my white bishop so much. I'm quite up for getting rid of you on that file. And now all pressure on these squares have disappeared. And so I'm quite happy here. Put him in check. He moves over. Now I move it out with my queen to put pressure on this square. And really, that wasn't such a great move. I mean, it's easily defended if he comes there, and I'm just going to have to move now. So that's a wasted move. But he didn't defend like that. For me, I think a better move would have been to put pressure on there, because now there is no easy way to defend that square. Because he needs to defend it, because obviously he wants to castle, and I'll end up just getting the knight, and he can't take back there because of my rook. So I think that should have been the defense, and of course he can't really come there with his knight, because now I can just simply kick him from that square immediately, and that knight can't go anywhere. Obviously that there, I can either exchange or just simply move up and attack both of them, and have all sorts of pressure going on. So that should have been the defense. And even though I'm still in this pin here, it's not really affecting me that badly. His only defense, in fact, sorry, I've just seen the other defense. His only defense was that. But again, I can come here and whether he castles or not. If he castles, I get him in a fork, which he obviously has to defend, and then I've got him in check, and I end up getting the knight anyway. Yeah. Oh no, that's not true. That's not true. Sorry, it's my first analysis video. Cut me some slack. He would actually go to there, but yeah, it's still not an ideal. It's not an ideal scenario. It's not an ideal scenario to be in this many pins, and if I can manage to kick his knight from this square, and you know, maybe with something like getting the knight to there, getting the knight to there, the pawn to that square, and then the bishop up here. You know, we've got all sorts of problems. We've got all sorts of problems, even though this knight would be there. It's fairly well defended, but I don't know. It doesn't feel as comfortable. So let's see what happened anyway. Because I didn't defend like that. I didn't defend like that. That's it. Okay, so he takes my bishop. I move over to put him in check. I move out like that, and he moves his queen down to pressure this knight. Now maybe we had, because this doesn't actually tell you the times we had left, does it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't tell you how much time we had left and what have you. Maybe he was on a little bit of time, but I thought this was a poor move, because obviously I can just simply move this out of the way and attack his queen and attack this square here. So he then moves back. I'm like, okay, great. I now move over with my knight, probably thinking of an extra defender, and also put pressure on this knight here. You know, and obviously to free up my rook, which was stuck in the corner there. He then castles queenside, which explains why he actually moved down to there, because he fully saw that I'd attack and he wanted to relieve pressure on this. Again, I don't think was that great a move, because obviously I couldn't steam in there quite yet. You know, if he had castled that side, obviously I wouldn't take with my queen, because he would have just had his castle there, you know, his rook there. So, okay, he goes like that, and obviously the castle now puts pressure on this knight. However, I've got pressure on this knight. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can see a way of getting a bishop and a knight for just a knight here. And I take his bishop. Now I'm just seeing here, the reason I paused there was because I know what he does. He takes with the queen. And then, of course, I take his knight, and he takes my knight. So, okay, so we're even, because I got a knight and a bishop. He got two knights. But I'm just seeing, I think there was a better way of doing that. When I took there, should he have taken there straight away? Yeah, it would have been the same thing. Would have been the same thing. Yeah, would have been exactly the same thing. Like I said, my first analysis video, so these will get better, I promise. So, okay, so I take with I exchange knight and bishop, go up like that, but really for me, it wasn't about the exchanges. It was about getting this file, because now I've got an obvious checkmate threat here, which, you know, I expected him to respond to like this, with his rook, and then you know, maybe I come back like this. No, I wouldn't, because I'd lose a rook like that. But yeah, I wasn't really. That's kind of what I was expecting him to do, and then maybe come and support over this way. But I've got a lot of stuff going on here, even in this situation, and my own king is fairly well protected by this bishop, and of course this rook. But he surprised me by putting me in check, which I don't know, if this bishop was a pawn, then yeah, sure, you've got some checkmates there, but it's not. And so I take, he takes, and yeah, danger over. And I really can't see what he's looking to do at this point, because yeah, and he comes down with his rook, and obviously now it's just game over. He somehow didn't think that, maybe he thought there was some kind of perpetual or something, but there we go, I checkmate him. Okay, so that was a bloody long video, a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Hopefully you've stayed with me till the end. I won't look at any more of this game. Please leave any comments about the game or about my play, or whatever. If you think I've played awfully or played really well or whatever it is, just drop a comment below. Okay, that's me for now. Cryptogee out.